the world's lowest ranked nation, belongs to a team all the way down here. In 210th position, San Marino is the world's worst footballing country according to FIFA's world rankings. So today, to remedy this situation, we are giving San Marino a golden generation. An entire starting 11 wonder kids, a goalkeeper, a left back, two center backs, a right back, four midfielders, and two strikers. With every single player having a potential ability of 200. The potential to have 11 perfect players in their starting lineup. But some players are more likely to get there than others, with some players having only 75 current ability to start off with, but one player essentially being guaranteed to fulfill their potential with a 110 current ability. And with all of these players starting at various clubs, top clubs around Europe, the question will be, can these 11 players develop to reach their potential and eventually lead San Marino to a World Cup title? I'm going to simulate well into the future and see what happens. The first step was to move forward 4 years through the first World Cup cycle taking place in the US, Canada, and Mexico in 2026. And looking at San Marino's 2026 schedule, it seems like it was just too early for them to make the World Cup. However, it does seem like our Wonder Kids are making their mark in the San Marino starting 11. Looking at their international league play, they went undefeated in Group 3, with the Wonder Kids scoring pretty much every single goal. And with our Wonder Kids now age 20, they were beginning to develop nicely. Our Wonder Kids center midfielder even being 174 current ability, the best amongst the lot. And at 174 current ability playing for FC Bayern, he was looking absolutely insane as a playmaker with excellent first touch, passing, technique, and vision. He could unlock any defense. The only player who was really struggling at the moment was our Wonder Kid goalkeeper. At 128 current ability, he was still a long way off of his potential. His attributes were starting to come through, but it seems like a loan to NYCFC from Manchester City was helping his development. This was really his first year getting regular playing time, so hopefully in 4 years' time, we would start to see that potential shine through. So now it was time to move 4 years later to 2031, where we would have gone through a European Championship and World Cup cycle. But first, looking at our players, they have pretty much all reached their potential. This is a starting 11 that could absolutely win a major international tournament. We have two players who have reached 200 current ability, our right back and our center mid. And the center mid is looking absolutely insane with first touch, passing, technique, vision, and physical attributes that make him absolutely insane. But the true star of this team was absolutely the right back, with physical, mental, and technical attributes across the board that were completely nuts. This was a team that could go far, but how were they doing in international competition? Well, unfortunately, in 2028, they did not make the European Championships, losing in the playoff semifinal to Norway. Not even they could stop the football manager Erling Haaland from doing his thing. But the 2030 World Cup was where San Marino finally made a major tournament. They were left in a group with the USA, Chile, and Morocco, and they were brilliant in the group, finishing first with 3 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses, and 9 points. That victory led them to the second round, where they defeated Canada 7-2, followed by a favorable draw in the round of 16, where they defeated Turkey 2-0. Things were looking good. That result put them into the quarterfinals, where they had a tough match against Germany, but came out 3-1 victors, putting them in the World Cup semifinals. And in the World Cup semifinals, they would play perennial contenders England, who Football Manager absolutely loved, and they defeated them 5-0, which meant they would come up against France and Kylian Mbappe in the World Cup final, where unfortunately they would lose 2-0. It was a runner-up performance from San Marino, but to finish runners-up in the World Cup is something to absolutely be proud of. And at this point, our players were still mostly just 24 years old, so there was still a long way to go, and our players could still lead this San Marino side to a World Cup victory. Which moves us now to 4 years later, our players 27 years old and now entering the prime of their careers. Pretty much every player now was a 200 current ability player, with the others being 199, 199, and just one 190 player. But he still looks absolutely insane. The first interesting development was in 2032, where San Marino finished runners-up in the European International League to Italy, where unfortunately they lost in extra time to a 91st minute pen. But in 2032, San Marino finally made the Euros, finishing first in Group C, but before unfortunately being knocked out by England 3-2 in the second round. Unfortunately, it was a European Championships to forget, but there was still a World Cup to look forward to. And San Marino were handed a tough Group D draw, where they drew against Brazil and South Korea, arguably the best teams in South America and Asia, but they came out on top with 3 wins and a phenomenal goal differential. In the second round, they came up against the USA, destroying them 5-0. Then in the round of 16, they came up against USA's foes, Canada, where they won 2-0. Things were looking up. Could they make the final again? A 4-0 victory against Switzerland in the quarterfinals put them back in the top 4 of the World Cup. A World Cup semifinal beckoned, where unfortunately they would lose to Spain 2-1, relegating them to the third place playoffs, where they would lose once again to Italy. It was heartbreak for San Marino, who had done so well in the World Cup, but just couldn't get past the semifinals. It seemed like time was running out for a major international trophy. It was especially sad considering that the World Cup Best Player award was dominated by our San Marino players, with the wonderkid winger winning Best Player and second place going to the other winger, and the wonderkid right back finishing in third. The World Cup Golden Boot was even won by the wonderkid winger, and the best goalkeeper was won by our wonderkid goalkeeper, but it wasn't enough to take them to the final, because other than our wonderkid players, this is probably the next best player, so they just didn't really have anyone else at a world-class level to be able to help them. In 2035, our players are now 28, which means there's probably one more World Cup to go for before they start retiring. This is San Marino's last chance. Can they do it? In 2039, most of our international players are now retired from international duty, but these 11 still have insane current abilities, which means this was the last shot to win something for San Marino. First up was the European Championships in 2036, and they started off the group well. They were drawn with France and managed to beat them, topping the group. Things were looking good to start off with. An easy draw against Northern Ireland led to a 3-0 victory, putting them in the quarterfinals. And in the quarterfinals, they defeated Spain, defending champions, 2-0, marking the furthest ever Euros run for San Marino. But it all came to a halt in the semis, where San Marino lost in extra time to Portugal, who would eventually go on to defeat the Netherlands 0-0 on pens in the final. Luck was officially running out for San Marino, but there would be one more opportunity, the World Cup in 2038, to win something for this country. San Marino's start to the World Cup was very good, finishing in first place in their group, just as they always had done, but this time with just 7 points. Interestingly, South Korea doing quite well. In the second round, San Marino managed to defeat Morocco, followed by a round of 16 defeat of Ghana, but somehow In the quarterfinals, they lost to an emerging South Korean side who won 2-1. This ultimately ended San Marino's hopes of winning a World Cup. Interestingly, South Korea ended up making the third place playoff where they would lose to Turkey. But there was no World Cup victory or any major international victory for San Marino. A best place finish came in 2030 when they made the World Cup final. They did manage to get into the top 10 in world rankings. However, there were no major international honors to show for their good work. Ultimately, this golden generation couldn't lead San Marino to a World Cup victory, but they did end up doing quite well, all things considered. But that is everything I've got for this video. I hope you've enjoyed our journey with San Marino. I hope you all are having a wonderful week, and I hope you all are doing very well, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!